Hello and welcome to Buncey Cast number 4, and finally the Premier League season is underway. It's been a long time coming. The break felt like forever, but not as long as it usually does because we did have the World Cup this time. But Premier League football is finally back and Fulham are in the Premier League. First trip of the season for me, Craven Cottage, Fulham versus Crystal Palace. And I have a lot of points to be going over from Fulham's game. Walking to Craven Cottage, you could really tell there was just a different type of buzz to what there usually is with a Fulham game. You could tell that we're back in the Premier League, in the big time, where we belong, and it was a fantastic game. Overall, there are so many positives to be taken away from that game, and I'm going to go over the negatives first, and then the positives. So obviously we did lose the game 2-0, but I really do not feel this is a fair reflection of the game that took place. The first 40 minutes at least, Fulham were absolutely phenomenal. For a team that are really new together, and there's so many new players in our lineup, I feel like they gelled so quickly. And one standout performance for me was Jean-Michael Seri. What a player. He had an amazing game. And also Tom Kearney. I seen a stat, 90 out of 93 passes completed. But still, first 40 minutes were absolutely amazing. But I'm going to discuss some of the negatives. And unfortunately, Schlupp from Crystal Palace did have a lucky attack. And when he was through, he just smashed the ball into the roof of the net. There was nothing Fabry could have done about it. And sadly, that's seen a different Fulham side for the remainder of the game. We did have the initial fight back. We tried our best to get back into it. But it really did take away some of the buzz from the Fulham players. And it really knocked their confidence a bit, especially the defensive line. Sadly, in that second half, defensive errors did cost us, and there were a number of times where Crystal Palace were through on goal, and Fabry's positioning was just not great, to be honest, and there were some saves which should have been a lot more simple than he made them look. But he is new in the Fulham side. There was a lot of criticism towards Fabry, and at the time you're bound to be annoyed. But I don't think you can solely take it out on the goalkeeper. And there were chants of Marcus Bettinelli, who isn't injured. However, I don't think that was really right to be chanting that, because Fabry is a Fulham player. He's new in our team. We should be respecting the goalkeeper like we do Tom Kearney at the end of the day. I just feel like it was a little bit harsh to be chanting a different goalkeeper's name. However, Fabry did make a vital error which would have costed that second goal, and did cost, because when Wilfried Zaha was put through, I think that Fabry maybe should have just stayed on his line, made himself look big. The angle was closing, and if he had have just stayed on his line, I think Zaha would have had to put it in the box where Chambers, all immersioned, would have just been able to clear the ball. However, in the heat of the moment, the goalkeeper made the choice that he felt was right. We have to stick by that. And at the end of the day, that was Jokanovic's decision to put Fabry in goal. That in the Premier League season, I think that things like that are bound to happen. And there's a lot that can be taken away and learnt from that. Going into next week's game at Tottenham away, I think we'll probably start Rico in goal, because he'll have a week to train with the players. We'll probably start Rico, see how he does, and then Jokanovic will probably compare the two. But if Rico isn't ready, I don't really see a reason why we couldn't start Bettinelli, just to give him that opportunity. But I do think that we have to trust what Jokanovic wants us to do, and it is his decision at the end of the day, and he has helped get us to the Premier League a long way, and we just need to trust him overall. And I know I said I was going to be discussing all of these negatives, however there just weren't many to take away, because yesterday's game really did not feel like defeat in some ways, because of the amount of positives there were to take away from it. And we have to remember, Ream and Mawson were both injured, and Mawson is going to be out until around September, but Ream is a vital centre-back, and I do think he would have started over Immersion. However, Callum Chambers, amazing performance yesterday. I think he was the second best player on our team. I think it was Seri, Chambers, Kearney. I think they were the three standout players in our squad yesterday. And also I do have to point out Sessegnon on the wing, his first game in the Premier League. I think he handled it really well and had a decent game. But Ream and Mawson are both injured, and those are two vital centre-backs which probably will be included in Fulham's team. So we have them to come in. We still have our brand new CDM, Anguissa, who will be hopefully ready to come into the team sooner rather than later. I think he'll be starting on the bench because Kevin McDonald, he really did get all of the hate away from him yesterday. I think he handled the Premier League really well. And another positive, we looked really good for that first 40 minutes, and we can't take that away from our team. We didn't look like a brand new side in the Premier League for those first 40 minutes. We looked like a mid-table squad. And the football we were playing, it was nice to see that we're still keeping that possession, passing football. We dominated possession that first half. And looking at the stats so far, we are up there with the highest number of passes in a game. And so many of them were completed. It was such nice football to watch. Another positive, at the end of the day, it is our first game back in the Premier League, and we have to remember that we've been out of this league for a while, and it's our first game back in the big time. We're bound to be a little bit shaky. Fulham usually do have slow starts to their seasons, and I do think that we are going to be absolutely fine. It's one game. People are saying, oh my god, we're going to get relegated, and other fans, Fulham are really going to get relegated. It's one game. Fulham always get off with a slow start. I think hopefully at Burnley at home, we'll hopefully be able to start picking up 1 point, maybe 3, but we always have slow starts. And it's nothing new. We will pick up. We'll be absolutely fine. No doubt about it. One improvement that I would really like to see in next week's game against Tottenham Hotspur is definitely going to be our crossing into the box. And to be honest, Christie's crossing into the box was, there's no other words you can describe it than woeful. It just wasn't great, to be honest with you. And there were so many chances where we should be whipping it into Mitrovic. And he doesn't score many goals, but we should still be aiming for his head. You could see there was one chance where he got his head to it, almost scored. And I just need to mention Wayne Hennessy. What a performance that goalkeeper had. He kept Fulham out of that game in the first half. I think if they had a different goalkeeper, we would definitely have got goals in that first half. But Mitrovic, we just need to be getting those balls into Mitrovic. He deserves to get the balls to his head. He's big enough and strong enough to be able to get to the balls, and hopefully next week Christie's crossing will be improved. I do rate Christie. I don't think he's really an upgrade from Fredericks, but I do rate the lad, and hopefully next week we will see some sort of improvement. Looking at other games from Saturday's fixtures, we can see that Newcastle lost to Tottenham 2-1, Huddersfield lost to Chelsea 3-0, Bournemouth beat newly promoted Cardiff City 2-0, Watford beat Brighton and Hove Albion 2-0. Fulham lost to Palace 2-0. Wolverhampton and Everton drawn at 2-2. And that is it for Saturday's fixtures. And going on to Sunday's fixtures. So from Sunday's fixtures, we can see that Southampton drawn at 0-0 with Burnley. Liverpool beat West Ham 4-0. And Arsenal lost to Manchester City 2-0. The Premier League winners of last year, winning their first game of the season against what I think is a very strong Arsenal side. Arsenal did actually bench Leno, their new goalkeeper. However, I think that he will feature in weeks to come. Maybe the new manager just thought that currently Petr Cech was the better goalkeeper to feature in that Arsenal side. But for Fulham Football Club, we will next be playing against Tottenham Hotspur away at Wembley Stadium. Not the new stadium, back at Wembley Stadium, where last time Tom Kearney sent us back to the Premier League. We're back there again, but this time facing a very strong Tottenham side who haven't actually brought in any new players, but that deadly force of Harry Kane and Dele Alli will definitely come into play, although Harry Kane has never actually scored in August in his career. Hopefully we aren't the team to turn that around, and hopefully we can get a result. I'm not too sure going into the game. I think there'll be a couple changes in our lineup. You've always got to have optimism, and I hope that we can scramble a point, maybe even 3 if we're lucky, or if we just outplay them, that would be fantastic. But for now, that will be it for this week. Thank you very much for coming back and listening. Follow me on Twitter if you're not already at BunceyCast, and let me know in the comments what team you support and how you think they're going to do this season. Thank you, and for now, goodbye. Woo!